Howdy y'all, it's Aaron here, and I'm super excited for today's episode because there's a question I get a lot. How do you grow a business to 7 figures? And we're gonna cover just that in this video. All right, as always, make sure you grab something to take notes with and stick around until the end where I'll be sharing with you the biggest mistakes to avoid when trying to grow to 7 figures. All right, so number 1 is to simplify your strategy. No matter how great your strategy may seem, I promise you it is probably overcomplicated. I know firsthand how to complicate a process and make it bigger and better and take a lot more time. But if you really pay attention, you will see tons of examples of brands who made their first million off of one or just a few products. There's actually a book out there by Ryan Daniel Moran who literally just talks about how you can get a couple of products or a few products to several purchases per day and scale that to your first million. I know the number can seem large and intangible right now, but let me break down how simple this strategy should be for you. So number 1, one audience, one group of people, one person you are talking to. And really when I say group, I guess, let's just talk to one exact person for our audience. Number 2, one message, one clear, concise message of who this is for, why they should actually buy from you, and an overarching theme for the business. Number 3, one offer, whatever that is, right? And it will make more sense here in a second, but that offer could be free shipping. It could be buy one, get one. It could be for every dollar you spend, we donate $1 to, the Ronald McDonald House or whatever that may be, whatever that offer is. One platform. So number 4, one platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, blogging, podcasting, whatever it is, right? Whatever is going to work for your business, one of them. And then the most important thing, and this is where people kind of get a little hung up, they're like, no, this doesn't make sense, and I don't know if I can do this, but I promise you can, is 1 year. So you do the aforementioned, the things that are above this for 1 year. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't hone in on the audience. It doesn't mean that your message may not necessarily change. It doesn't mean that offer may not change. What it means is that you don't have 6 offers, 5 different types of messages, 15 different types of audiences. It doesn't mean that you don't start out on Instagram and Instagram isn't working, that you don't switch, right? It doesn't mean that you just take this as a very rigid conversation where you don't move off, right? If Instagram isn't driving results and you chose Instagram, it doesn't mean you stay there for a year. It means that you're focused on one platform to dominate for 1 year. So that is kind of what I mean by those things, right? Kind of use this loosely, not like rigid, specific. You'll fine tune and figure that out over time, but then stick to it. If you can stick to this simple method, you'll be far and away better than the number that I like to make up here and just kind of using it for a lot of the videos now is 99.9% of business owners, which is probably pretty accurate, that they are not focused on simplifying within their business because they believe that 7-figure businesses are complicated, and that is why they never get to 7 figures. All right, so before we cover how to increase leverage for growth, I just wanted to say howdy. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Vit Branding, and we are an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online. Now, make sure you do yourself a big favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of the latest strategies for clothing stores. That's literally specific for you. And we drop new content every single week. All right, so number 2 is to get the heck out of debt and increase your leverage. Cash is king in life and in business, and whether you are watching this and the economy is booming or we are in some sort of downturn, having cash on hand is crucial. When the economy isn't doing well, you need some security so that you can sleep well at night, knowing that you will be able to weather that storm. One big mistake you can make is a fear-based decision about your business. Cash on hand allows you to make level-headed decisions and honestly give you the upper hand against the competition. Think about this, if the economy tanks, what is one of the first things people cut, but they should not? Market. The thing that is actually driving sales and revenue in their business, they decide to cut because they look at it as an expense versus an abundance mindset of saying this is actually what's bringing in the revenue. Which means if you can stay the course or even double down, your buying power is so much higher. It's so much more. You'll acquire more customers for less. So if you're from my generation, right, maybe you're early 30s or late 20s or whatever, mid 30s, whatever, and even older, right, you may remember the Kmart Blue Light Special where they had 1 or 2 items on crazy discount. Usually it's 75% off. If you're already gonna buy that item, why not buy it at a discount, right? You know the phrase, well, I am very, very sure of this. I don't know who the quote is. Maybe it's Warren Buffett. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's falsely quoted to the person, so I don't know who to say. Maybe we'll find it for the video and put it on here. But the term is, or the phrase is, to buy low and sell high. And most people ignore this because when the economy is doing great, they're like, well, I don't want to buy because it's crazy high. But then the economy is crashing and they're like, no, I'm going to lose all of my money. And it's like, you got to be able to follow the methodology here. So the same thing goes for you as well, which is why having the leverage of cash on hand makes level-headed decisions. So in this case, let's just acquire customers for a low cost and then hold on to them forever. Speaking of forever, I would be forever indebted to you if you would just hit that like button and give the YouTube algorithm some love for us. If you're enjoying the video so far. I don't want to make you do anything, but if you do like it, make sure you hit that like button. All right, so number 3 is to drive a lot of traffic. So this goes without saying, I think, but if you have an amazing website, you are going to convert 2% of the customers. Let's just say, because that's a really good converting site. I would love to have that for everybody we work with. Let's say your average order value is $50, right? I know it's a little bit on the low end, but it's an easy number for us to do some math. That means that we must send 1 million people to your website in a 12-month period. Right? That is a lot of people to get enough customers to make $1 million. That assumes that someone buys from you once, that every order, and also that every order is $50, which is not going to be the case. So how do we make this easier? We get someone to buy twice in a 12-month period and our total traffic is cut in half. Awesome. Now imagine we get someone to increase the average order value for the sake of this conversation because it's just easy math. Let's just say we get it from $50 to $100. Now we just cut that total traffic in half. Again, we now need only 250,000 people to the site versus 1 million. Just a couple of quick changes on things that we have absolute control over to drop the total cost to make enough money. But even so, that is a lot of people you need to get to your site. The best and most effective way to drive traffic is through social media. So post iOS or any type of issue, you've probably seen this a lot on the internet unless you just started your business now, is that iOS or Apple got in a fight with Facebook and said, we're not going to share data back and forth and people are going to have control over whether or not they want to be tracked. Because of that, Facebook got a lot less data and we're back to what happened in the 90s and 80s and 70s or whatever else, which is focused on really good content. So post iOS, it is a Facebook ad campaign or insert other social platform set up like this. So let me show you inside of Ads Manager a very simple way to set up a campaign to start driving real results for your business. All right, so we are inside of Ads Manager and let me just show you real quickly and talk you through what is happening right now. So this is the way the Ads Manager looks as of right now, summer of 2022. Yours may look a little different based off the time that you watch this video, but the concepts, the theories, the ethos around this is all the same. So you're gonna go ahead and click create with this nice big green button. And I'm not gonna walk it through like step by step specifically like that, but let me just show you in a normal way. So go ahead and click that conversions button here. Name your campaign. For this, you are going to name this your dynamic creative testing. You are going to go to broad, which we'll talk about here in a second. And you are going to do, let's just say for summer, I talked about this on another video. I really like the Simba collection. It just, who doesn't like Lion King? All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit continue. So the campaign name, DCT. This just means dynamic creative testing. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. Campaign budget optimization. This means that the budget is based off of the campaign level, which means that Facebook and or whatever platform, Meta at this point, I guess, is distributing the budget for us, not through the ad set level. If you have been watching videos in the past, not just from us, but from other people, a lot of people, 2015, 2016, 2017, have ingrained in people to do an ABO or an ad set budget optimization. That is no longer as effective, so please switch to the CBO level. This is what you should do for pretty much every single campaign that you will run in your business. All right, so campaign budget optimization starting out at $100 a day. Great place to start if you can. Let's go ahead and show more options. To give you an idea here for the budget though, so $100 budget is just putting you at another level to be able to compete with people because ads are based off of an auction, which has a lot of things like an action rate of really good content mixed with a budget, and whichever one is beating out the competition will actually be able to be shown to more people. So $100 gives you a competitive budget to do so. All right, next up, that's pretty much simple on this side here. Let's go to the ad set level. We are looking for website purchases. Now this says website and shop. The reason that Facebook wants this is because they don't have as much data going to the website. Just like what I mentioned earlier, it has less data because of the iOS switches. So you could do the website and shop, which 10%, as they say here, will go towards that Facebook or Instagram shop. I suggest right now not to do it because we're personally having some issues with people getting paid out or tracking correctly, and it's just no longer viable, or it isn't as viable. Now, that being said, do your own research, do your own testing, see if that works. All right, so website or website and shop is really where I'd go at. All right, and then go ahead and hit here, conversion and event. I am looking for purchase. Now, one thing you need to make sure that you do is go in to set up the priority of your events. If you do not, what I mean by that is that Facebook will prioritize which events you want to go off of first. So your number one prioritized event will be a purchase, then initiate checkout, then add to cart, then view content, and it should do that automatically for you. But if you have, for some other reason, whatever like priority that you want, you can manually change those and tell Facebook which one to prioritize if you would like. But right now, the default is in, I think, pretty much that order. All right, so the next thing here, since this is a dynamic creative test, you can check out this right here. You can pause the video and read that. I'm not gonna read it to you, but what it means is that it will take these elements and it will create combinations of elements for you and for your business. You must turn this on to make that work. Go ahead and hit show more options. We are not interested in a 7-day click view. This assumes that Facebook can find everybody who's going to take an action within 7 days. We are not looking for those people. I want Facebook to find people who are going to take action within 1 day. Now, if you are not getting results, if your $100 a day budget does not work, you could go to 7-day, and then as soon as you start to get some sales, go quickly back to 1 day, because what's going to happen is you're going to have a very long, elongated process to be able to generate sales, right? It's literally rolling the snowball uphill before you actually have something of substance. 1 day click or view for your business, a much better option. I'm just giving you best practices here. Again, you can try things out on your own. This is what works for us and all of our clients and group coaching members. Do not do it on a schedule unless for some reason you can't run an ad at one particular time, but that's not really an issue. Now, this is the ad set level is both based off of what is actually the audience we're going after. This is going to be the simplest setup you have ever been a part of. We are looking at age, gender, location. For us, I'm just going to make something up, but you need to do your research for your audience to actually figure out who you need to go after. But we're going after, for our clothing brand, we're going after people who are 25 to 45, and we are not looking for all genders. We are looking for men. These just happen to be the guys that are wearing these types of clothes that we're talking about here. All right, so go ahead and hit here. Custom audiences, nothing. We don't need to do anything. Detail targeting, we don't need to do anything. It's all based off of a broad audience. Now, manual placements, I typically do automatic placements. The only thing I really do not like is the apps and sites. Other than that, just leave everything else. The reason I like apps and sites is because a lot of people are on apps or playing games on their phone. They maybe have some dexterity issues and they click our ad, go to the site, it's a bad experience, and they leave and click off of it right away. Just rather not waste any money on those people. And what we have seen personally is that they don't convert as well as something through like the feed or Instagram Reel or a story or whatever else. Test that for your own discretion. Show more options. We want all, everything, just leave as recommended there. Go ahead and click next. Make sure that you choose your Instagram account too. The symbol collection, I would grab everything from my symbol collection and I would put it in here. Now, what we'd suggest right now is to put in 3 to 4 pieces of creative, 4 being kind of the max right now. We used to suggest 10, but since iOS, it's gotten less data and so many different ad combinations, it's much harder to get and receive results to Facebook. So go ahead and choose 4 images. I'm just gonna pick some random ones here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. All right, then I would write primary text, buy these clothes. The headline would be shop new symbol collection. Obviously, I know that is not proper grammar. I'm just trying to put in some stuff here. All right, and then we'll just go to the website. Make sure you put that there. As soon as you put the website in, it should be able to populate what this is gonna look like over on the right-hand side for the preview, which this, for example, I would wanna make sure to edit the media and then slide up. So we're gonna do the original square 1x1. If we do the 1x1, we can hit save and see what it looks like there. Just show you, all right, there we go, that pops a lot better. Cool. So yeah, just so you know, you can look at every piece of media where it's gonna, like what it's gonna look like in the feed, which is a great feature by Facebook. And if it doesn't look good, you can go to edit media and you can go to like original or add a square 1x1 and then drag and drop so that people can actually see the full screen. Primary text and headlines, again, you can add 5 each. We suggest probably 3 each for that. So add 3 primary text and 3 headlines. You just click this button here to keep adding options. Preview URL, it's if you want to. Show extension to your website. I don't think you're gonna do a call extension, at least that we are using. And then select a domain. Make sure that you actually choose the domain for your business. If you have an app, make sure you test and click that on, because if you do not, it's not gonna track results. That pixel is not going to track what's actually happening. All right, and then offline events, probably a conversation for another time. If you do have that set up, just make sure that it is already on, which typically is done by a default. So that is what we do as far as the setup. There are other videos we have out there that go more in depth on the creative side of things and like what actually works and what creative we would put in here. But this is the overarching setup to start to grow your business, to drive more traffic. Now, you can trust Facebook a little bit, or Meta, but you really are going to need to find a solution for the accurate data within your business. And there are a ton of options out there, but the one we are using and is most effective for us and our clients and group coaching members is TripleWell. I believe as of the time of this recording, they are the most accurate within the space with an accuracy of 99.7% accurate attribution of sales. It's just a fancy way of saying they can track where the sale came from, whether it came from Facebook, whether it came from Klaviyo, whether it came from Postscripts or Attentive or wherever that sale actually came from or originated from, they can point it back to the right spot so you can make better decisions in your business. So if you're interested in learning more about them, right, and more about TripleWell, check out the link in the description down below. All right, so number 4 is to become a content creator plus media company first. Number 1, I guess this is the time that we have a conversation where you really take this in and say, I am not a clothing store. I am a media company who happens to sell products. When you make that shift, a lot of other things open up the doors here, and that allows you to become a 7-figure business. I'm gonna tell you how important it is to create content for your business. You do not need to be everywhere all at once. Yes and no, you do, right? So we have said that, but my point is you do not have to hit 7 figures. You can stick to the simple strategy that I mentioned above to get you to that 7 figures. Then you can expand. But if you are on a platform, I want you to dominate in that platform, right? It does you no good to be mediocre on all of the other things versus dominating one. So if it's Facebook or Instagram, content every single day is a must. Multiple times per day is even better. If it's something like YouTube where it's search-based, right? We're gonna talk about that here in a second. If it's something more search-based that could actually stick around, a little bit less frequent is actually okay because the videos will live longer than something like a decay life on Facebook or Instagram. But the point is, create content your audience wants to engage in. Right? Think about what they actually would engage with that actually adds value. Use tools like TikTok and Instagram Reels. I know those are platforms, right? And that they're tools within the social media platforms, but they are great ways for inspiration to find your own twist, your own way to create content and add your own spin on things to stand out. So this takes time. Do not get discouraged, right? I realize what I'm asking you here and telling you here is a lot easier said than done. It will be a lot of work, right? You may make a little bit of traction, but then you will do it all at once. So, right, a little bit of traction and then all at once. The point is, right, to get to 7 figures, I believe the percentage is like 1% of businesses ever make it to that point. So it's supposed to be hard, but be consistent with your posting, your messaging, and the quality of the content, and you will break through. It may take time, but it will happen. So make sure you are very specific to who you're talking about to, just like we mentioned above, because trying to compete against the masses will take longer and almost ensure less traction. Here's some examples of clothing stores that I believe are killing it with their content that you can take inspiration from. All right, so this first one, we're gonna check out their ads. They always do a great job, and if you've watched any of our channel before, we have talked about them. Let's jump into some examples here of their content. All right, so this is the Color Pop collection. Doesn't look like there is much going on here, just actually pops. Really good color there. A neutral mode, simple slideshow images, and then we get a collection style video. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, awesome. Very cool. Dope song. I think this is the same thing. Yes. All right, here's another one. Okay, this is for, let's watch the Sedona Sunrise. Nice, the newest collection in the clothes rack. They always have such cool names for the collection. So as a side note, from anything, like if you're gonna create something, name it different than versus like our quote unquote summer collection. Get an actual name, just like what we did earlier with our Simba collection. Mine wasn't nearly as cool as the Sedona Sunrise, but you get the point here. And then let's see this content around it. Definitely summer vibe. Very cool. Just one example. Let's see what else. This is another Sedona Sunrise. Okay, so it's just very similar. Let's see if we can find one other video to look at real quickly. This is cool. Artfully selects every item with fashion forward and women in mind. So this is more of a top of the funnel, not really going after like a specific collection. It's just more of a broad. So follow our Instagram, stay up to date. A weekly collection drops, new looks, and so much more. So general interest. But just notice like the different color changes, the different color, the different shot changes, and then different location changes as well. There's a lot of detail that goes into this, and then the videographer is just amazing at putting this together. All right, so that's one form of content you're probably familiar with, but I also wanted to share another piece of content that I thought was really interesting because she is a student from Brown University, and she started this during a little bit of the quarantine times, like I think March, April or so, and she now has 500,000 followers, and she just, I think this video is the one that actually went more so viral for her. It says, "I look bad in everything I wear." Dude, no you don't, you're just dressing wrong. So she's saying like, hey, you actually have the clothes, and she teaches people how to style the clothes and creating amazing content around that. Puts videos out consistently. Like for example, this is how to dress for your body type. You don't actually have to nothing to wear. Here's how you do it, how to layer correctly. So she really goes into details of like, hey, this is what you can afford. These are the types of clothes that you have. This is how to put it together, and then puts YouTube videos together for it. I.e. this one right here, 3.6 million views. The next one here, 10 months ago, 1.5, 6 months ago, 300,000, 499,000, and she's just telling people how to style things, which I know a lot of you guys can do, and she just put them together as a YouTube video. Now she does a really good job of her editing as well, which I think is helpful, but really her content is really, really good. And she's getting, and you guys can see the other side of this too, you can actually see right here. Side note, Franklin, make sure you don't show our actual numbers here, but you guys can actually see right here that she's getting 6 million views right now per month, which is quite significant for her brand. And then she's linking out here as well. So if she ever wanted to do something, she absolutely has the audience to do so. But that's just another example of a way to create content that's more long form, that's more like the YouTube side of things that maybe a clothing store would have never thought about. They focus on like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or something like that versus long form content where, like I said, I think she puts out videos every single, like at the very top here, every Wednesday. So once a week she creates a piece of content and then gets millions of eyeballs on it. So another great option for you to create content. All right, y'all, before you go, I just wanted to tell you about our free masterclass training for clothing stores that will walk you through the 5 pillars that you must have in place for your online store to scale consistently and profitably no matter what is going on in the world. It's 20 minutes and is the framework we use to help grow 6, 7, and 8-figure companies just like you're trying to look for in this video. So if you want access to that free 20-minute training, make sure you check out the link in the description down below. And if you like this video, then you'll need to check out the latest Facebook ad strategies in 2022 to help grow and scale your clothing store. Make sure to check that out here. All right, y'all, that's it for this week. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in the next video.